Welcome back to Idle Time Barbecue. Today we're going to be cooking some pork baby back ribs on our Weber Kettle. We're going to use our Venom Controller and the Only Fire basket. Let's zoom in and let's get the seasoning on these ribs. Okay, this is our rack of ribs. And it's just the Costco version. We've used these before quite a few times, and they're really flavorful. They have a lot of meat on them. They're super good. So we're going to flip it over, and we're going to use yellow mustard as our binder. Just French's yellow mustard. We're actually not going to do any trimming on this. This is just a backyard version of this, and this actually looks pretty good. So we're going to put on a kind of a light coat, just enough to kind of get it going for the seasoning to stick. And then for today's seasoning, we're going to be using just the Traeger rub. And this one adds some color, adds some flavor, adds a little bit of heat. It actually works out really good on these. So we're going to do a pretty decent coat, I think. More on the top, I think, than the bottom. We'll do, we want to make sure we get the sides and the back. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to pat it in because I'm going to flip them right over. And then we're going to put them in the fridge to let the meat sweat the seasoning. We're going to do the same process on this side, where we're going to put down some mustard. The mustard, there it is. Okay. We're going to rub it in. We want to make sure we get good coverage. Okay, and this is where the bark's really the most important part. So I'm going to go possibly a little heavier because I want to have better coverage up here. So we're going to start with just kind of a layer like this. And then we'll kind of cover a few spots. We also want to make sure we get the edges. Because this is where the bark will come from. We want to make sure we have a nice, good bark. Okay, I actually think that's looking pretty good. A little bit right there. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator while we're waiting for the grill to get up to temp. So now let's head over to the grill and let's get it lit and get it up to 250. Today we're going to be cooking at about 250, maybe 275. Kind of somewhere in that neighborhood because we're going kind of lower and slower. So what I've done is I've taken, well, that's probably about 20 little chunks. And normally I would go with a few less, but these were all kind of on the smaller side. So what I'm going to do is just get them lit. Then I'm going to spread them over the charcoal in the back there. So in order to do that, we're just going to put down a tumbleweed. Going to get it lit. Then we'll just put these right on top of that and give them about 15 or 20 minutes to get started. And then once that's done, we'll spread them across the back. Okay, so we're back at the grill, and our coals have been going for probably about 15 minutes, and they have a nice good burn on them, so that's a good place to start. So we're gonna take those and I'm gonna pour them on to kind of this side of it, and actually there you go. There's a couple that were caught down there, so I'm gonna put that off to the side. I'm gonna use my charcoal rake here to kind of arrange them a little bit because I want it all to kind of start in the back here so that there's no direct heat on the ribs. So I'm going to just put this up here and kind of bank these up. Okay, so at this point we're going to need to get our Venom Controller because I want the Venom to start controlling the temp down or up to 250. So let's get that going and let's get the app started so we can start the Venom Controller. this point, we're also going to put our grill grate on. I'm going to put it on to make sure that I'm going to put it on right on the top of the only fire. And it has these two little flaps here, so I'm going to make sure those flaps are there. And we can also pull out this part for when we put our hardwood in to get some flavor wood in there. Okay, we've set our Venom controller. We're going to put in our heat probe. So I usually like to put it back over here so it's going to be kind of closer to the meat. So we're going to, because I think the meat will go like right there, maybe I'll put it like right here. And we can always move it later if we need to, but that'll give a good, kind of a good amount of heat. And we're going to put the vent over on this side because we want everything to flow this way. And it says leave it partially open. I'm going to call that partially open. That's probably like half a thumb. And we'll let this go until it gets up to 250, and then we'll let it settle, and then we'll bring the ribs back out. We'll put the ribs on. It's been 15 or 20 minutes, and we're a little bit higher than our target temp, but I think it's close enough. Because it might be where the probe is, because it's kind of next to the heat, because this says it's about 225, 235, which is exactly where we want it. So let's open her up and get a good look here. So we're going to do a couple of things. One thing is we're going to give it a good scrape, just to make sure it's as clean as we can get it. So we're going to give it a good scrape. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to put in some cherry wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out this middle thing and put it off to the side. So this is, these are cherry chunks. There was a chunk that I split even further. I'm going to kind of put the biggest piece like right there. And then I'm going to put have the next piece there. I'll just kind of move over a little bit. Okay. And then this, we'll kind of put that last piece there. Okay. So I think that'll be good. And now that we have this all situated with our cherry chunks, we're going to put on our pork ribs. And as you can see, they have a good, they sweated the seasoning really well. So I'm going to just take them and I'm going to lay them on there. I'm going to actually adjust them because I don't want them over I don't want it over the flame. I want it off the flame. So I'm going to actually move them. So they're going to be more this way, and I'm going to scoot that off to the side. There we go. Okay. And again, we're going to put the vent over this way, so it's going to pull the heat. Actually, I'm going to put the vent on this side right here, so it'll pull the heat over this way to go out. And then I'm going to put a little dash of seasoning on it where I touched it, just to kind of have it nice and make sure everything gets the seasoning. Actually, the more and more I think about it, I think I'm going to try and get this. I think it's too close to the meat. I think the meat will affect it. So I'm going to push it over even further. There you go. And that'll kind of that'll get a little bit off the meat. And then we're going to put the vent over like this. So now it'll pull, most of the heat's right here right now, so it'll pull it over, kind of over this way. And now that we have our, the meat on there, I'm going to do an initial cook of 3 hours. It's gonna take a lot longer than that, but I'm gonna come out and check it when it's at 3 hours. So it's getting back to temp, and we'll get an alert when the 3 hours are up, and we'll come out and give it a check and see if we need to make any adjustments. Okay, it's been around 3 hours. We're gonna take a look at the ribs and see how we're doing. Man, those look really good. They have a nice bark on the outside. Just starting to get a little pullback over here on the bone. And these are looking so good. I'm not sure if they're going to go the full time or not. But we're going to let them go at least another hour, and let's see what they look like. Oh man, that bark is super nice. Nice and crispy. Really nice looking ribs. Okay, so we're going to check these ribs, and just looking at them, they look perfect. They have great bark on the outside. You can see that they're pulling back from the bone. I'm going to pick them up. You can see that. The other thing is that if the ribs are flopping down and each side touches when you hold it in the middle, you know they're done. So these are totally done. So we're going to pull them off. And that's what our ribs look like. They came out absolutely perfect. Nice crust on the outside. They look really juicy, really moist. Looks perfect. Thank you for watching the video. Please like the video, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, and leave comments. I really like reading them. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.